I really didn't seem like I was getting fast, but because of the momentum, I guess, made it look like I was getting fast, and because of the impact of when I hit the sidewalk and how I had broke my spine, I guess, and then I was getting fast.
So the circumstances surrounding the crash, were you passing another vehicle?
Yes, I was actually overtaking several cars on the outside before I actually got to the point of when I saw the gentleman in the van, to where I decided to avoid him, to where I hit the sidewalk and messed up my spine. But I definitely remember very vividly that I overtook well over five cars.
Were there like five cars
Yeah,
on
I
the
was like
outside?
five cars on the outside. I was just overtaking. Because what happened was really when I was coming from church, I stopped at my gate, had my indicator on, had the handlebars turned. All I had to do was just turn on my gate. And it's weird that I looked in my rearview mirror and I saw two guys on bikes overtake me. So I'm saying, I wonder if I could catch them up because the bike I had was a 150 CBR. I
Mm-hmm.
never really opened it really. So I just, curiosity called me to see if I could catch them up, which I did. But it just so happened when I did catch them up, they was on the inside of the car so they couldn't go no more. And I was on the outside where I just had a free lane and I was just going. So really, I don't know what made me decide to go, and all I had to do was just turn to my gate. And all of this would have been avoided. So I really can't explain why I decided to catch him up. Actually, once, like I said, it actually was like I said, it was a Sunday morning, and it was kind of crazy because that Sunday morning I didn't want to ride my bike, and I told my mom like, "Yo, ma, what you doing today? If you didn't, I want to take the car." So she said, "Take your bike. That's why you brought your bike for. Take your bike." So it really didn't matter whether I rode or not. At one point, I really didn't feel like riding, but I said, "Well, it really don't matter." So I ended up riding my bike. And once I got to church, service was good and all. And once I left service, coming home, it was a day just like this, nice, sunny, bright, real calm, warm, relaxing type day. And I remember, like I said, once I got to my gate, the gentlemen overtook me on the bikes. I went to catch them up. Once I did catch them up, the whole time I was not expecting what was going to happen. So when I saw the gentleman in the minivan, he saw me. Like I said, he stopped, just froze, and looked at me. And I looked up. And the first thing I thought was either A, hit him, or B, avoid him. So I panicked to where I took off the throttle and I actually closed my eyes. I don't know why I closed my eyes. I closed my eyes and I turned to avoid him. And at that time, the sidewalk was really, really thick to where I hit the sidewalk. I flew and my bike didn't come behind me, just went up and went down. So it didn't come behind me where it could have fell on top of me. I flew in the air with my eyes still closed. And I just remember a real, real loud bang. And that was when my back actually hit the railing and where I bounced off the railing back on the sidewalk with my eyes still closed the whole time. And I was just on the sidewalk, saying, "Oh, my back, oh, my back." Blood coming out my mouth, eyes still closed. And I remember at one point it was just darkness, just quietness, stillness. And the first thing I said in my mind was, "Hey, yo, I can't feel my legs." And like, "Yo, I'm paralyzed." That's the first thing that said in my mind, like, just can't feel my legs. And it was like a real warm feeling. So then, as I was on the sidewalk, I knew I hit my back, but I didn't know how much damage I actually did to it. I just kept saying, "Oh, my back, oh, my back." And then this is where, because the accident is probably like 10 minutes from my house, I believe my mom, my dad, and my sister was home. And this is one that I don't remember that my mom told me, where she said that when I was on the sidewalk, it was a big crowd, and she remembered running down there, and she didn't know what happened. All she knew was her son got in an accident. So while she was running, she don't know if I was dead or alive. All my dad, all my sister, all my whole family, like they didn't know what was up. So once she got down there, the police guided her to me, and she said when she saw me, she just was just looking like, and she really didn't know how bad I was. But I remember she said that the police told her to try to keep me awake because I was saying on my back, and my eyes were still closed. So she had told me that the police had told her to try to get my eyes open, keep me up in a way. So she said she held me in her arms and she was yelling my name, Jason, Jason. And she said I would pop my eyes open and then I'll close them. And she just kept saying my name and I just keep saying it, pop them open and close them. So that was one thing I don't remember that she did tell me. And then as we was going in the ambulance, my dad, who passed away this year, he had told me something that I don't remember, where he said when we was in the ambulance getting to the hospital, I had an internal bleeding, blood was getting in my stomach and all. And once we got to the hospital, they took me on one of the beds, and they said I must have shook, and then I died. So where the nurse must have ran, got a tube, shoved it down my throat, and all the blood must have came up, but my eyes were still closed. And once I guess they got everything out, they had to get out. I remember, I think I was out for maybe 2 days. So a lot of people really noticed me and knew me, would know me from running a lot. Because that's all I would do, would run, work, church. At that time, I was also in the regiment. I was in there. And I think I had like maybe 1 year left because I was private. So that was like my first year up there. So I had like a 1 year left before I had my accident. Mentally, it made me feel like it was the end of the world, like my life was over. A lot of things that I can't do, things that I want to do that I can't do, just knowing that I can't take care of myself, knowing that I could be a burden on my family and for everyone that I care about and that I'm around. It really made me feel like my life is not going to be the same, and I don't know if I can handle all the hardships that come with being paralyzed and certain health issues that arise with it. There's so much that I wasn't prepared for, and like I said, at 23, like you're not really thinking of you would be paralyzed because there's so much more you want to do, and this just feels like it's an obstacle that I don't think I would ever get over, to be able to do something great where it would just keep me back, and I really won't have a life. That's what I did. Stuff that I was feeling, all of it came from being out in sporting, where I would wake up and I didn't want to do nothing. The only thing I was really thinking of was basically, suicide, just take my life. I didn't have no determination, no ambition. I was mad, angry every day. The nurses would ask me to do something. I just won't, well, I couldn't talk, so I just didn't do nothing. I just lay in the bed, and all the emotions came: anger, frustration, sadness, heartache, pain, sorrow. I mean, so much negative emotions came upon me that the only thing I could think of to get rid of it and to find a way out was just take my life. And I remember being up there and they had a balcony. And sometimes I would go out on the balcony, and I don't know how long of a drop, but it was like a good bit drop. And I was grip onto the railing as if I'm about to pull myself over. And that played through my mind a couple of times for all I could do. No one's around. I could just grip the railing and just end my life right there, just pull myself over the railing and basically leave the earth. So that played in my mind a lot. It really woke me up to be like, sometimes you would have doubt, but sometimes a situation and a hardship that you go through, especially with minds being paralyzed, it kind of makes you focus on, well, am I going to let my situation beat me, or can I make it better? Like I either let it make me or break me. So I said to myself, and with the love and support from everyone that gives me good advice and just there for me, I said, I'm going to let it make me. So I'm going to make something good and positive out of my situation. And with that, that's how I was able to accomplish a couple of things. Like, for example, like my first book. Did not ever, ever, ever think I would write a book. Ever. And that was something that came up positive with my situation. And then also being in the church, I'm been able to teach lessons where I've did a couple lessons already. That was awesome. That's something I did not expect that I could do. And then from there on to be able to go to schools where I've been to Cedar Bridge talking to the children. I've been to TN Tatum, talk to the children. My books in 4 other schools here in Bermuda in Berkeley Institute, TN Tatum, Cedar Bridge, and I believe Mount St. Agnes. So right now, this life I have now does not compare to what my life was before. Just to let not just the young but also the adults to know that, be responsible when you're on your road, because, my situation could happen to anybody, especially if you're not really riding with respect other roads as well as being responsible. And I feel that, we're on this earth to really uplift and to be positive and to bring motivation and inspiration. So that was one thing that I honestly thought I could do, because I don't really talk a lot, I don't really do a whole lot of things. So a lot of times when people tell, like when they talk to me, for example, like when I was in the hospital, I have a lot of people come or, just regular general conversation, and I'll tell them my story, and the first thing they say is, you ever thought of being a motivational speaker? You ever thought of, talking to everyone really and let them know your story and how you turned a bad situation to something good, to where it could benefit others and to help others. And I'm already had a lot of people say when they talk to me, it's like, when I come to cheer you up, you cheer me up. So a lot of times I say, really? How? I'm just talking like just a normal person. I'm just talking like, nah, man. You can see it, like, you've been through a lot, but the way how you channel yourself, the way how you stay positive, is a good thing for others to see. Be responsible for one, and number two, you have a life and you have family, and every day, especially when it comes to the young generation, every day when you go through them doors, your family wants to see you come back to them doors. They don't want to have to hear that you've been in a situation that could cause them hardship, that could bring them sadness and sorrow. So, you have a life, love your life, but also realize that you have family that wants to see you every day. So if you just keep them in mind, especially when it comes to children, and you have children that's at the age that want to ride a bike, let them know that you love them and you want to see them every day. And I know at times it's not your fault. You have to look out for others. So it's really not your fault at times, but just be responsible and just realize that life's too short. Like, God has a plan for you to do something successful and great. I mean, you just never know what's behind that corner. All it takes is one corner. You take one corner wrong, you're done. So hopefully they will really see that with my situation, I wasn't responsible. I didn't really think of the consequences. I just read. And looking back, I don't want someone else to be in a situation like mine, so even worse off where they lose their life. You don't want to be in that road. So just ride responsible, think of your family, and just know that God's got a plan for you. So, just do what you gotta do.